Hi there, welcome to the latest episode of my 10-minute moan, and the topic of this 10-minute moan is the strange things that are going on with this British steel plant in Scunthorpe, and how when you look at it between the lines, something just doesn't add up, and I wonder why. Now, just to give you the story that we're told, the narrative that's been driven by the government and by mainstream media, I'll then look at how that doesn't actually add up and consider what is actually the truth of the matter. So to give you the sort of summary of the expected and accepted narrative here is, Chinese company own Scunthorpe British Steel plant, because they own British Steel, believe it or not, and the narrative being driven is that they do not want to run it anymore. They are possibly going to run out of raw materials, which would see the furnace stop, and if the furnace does stop, it makes it almost impossible to reignite it because of the maintenance required, and make it almost mothballed if you run out of materials. And the government have told us last week that the place was running out of materials, and the Chinese were not ordering any more materials. They weren't prepared to, as they were just throwing good money after bad, and they were losing about £700,000 every day in the plant. So that's where we were up to the weekend. Then on Saturday, the Prime Minister, the government rather, recalled Parliament and asked all the MPs to come down to work. And you'll remember, if you're on social media, the sort of, oh, look at poor old me. There was photographs for all over the United Kingdom with these people taking, oh, look at me, I'm on a train, look at me, I'm on a plane, and oh, we're all going down to Westminster. And I thought, and what? Right? Who cares? The amount of people that are expected to do extra hours at their work in the United Kingdom is phenomenal. The amount of people who work every Saturday is quite high. But these people seem to want a Blue Peter badge for turning up for their work on a Saturday. So what had happened up till Saturday, the government had been in discussions with the Chinese owners to try and come to some agreement to save the plant. Then they realised sometime, probably Friday, that wasn't going to happen. They recalled Parliament to give them powers to basically run the plant and stop it from closing. And we were told how desperate it was, the requirement to get raw materials, which are basically iron ore and coke coal for the furnace, and the ingredient of the ore to make the steel. And we kind of thought, well, that makes sense. So government passed powers on Saturday to basically let the government, short-term or otherwise, take over the running of the plant. We were then told that there was people on standby to go straight to the plant the minute those powers were passed. So that would have been Saturday at the earliest. We were then told that the government had made arrangements. This was Monday, I believe, from memory, but certainly after Saturday. Couldn't happen before then. But the government had made this claim that they had sorted out the raw materials to keep the plant going. And the Chinese hadn't. The Chinese had stopped ordering stuff and were actually selling off the raw materials that they had on site to other businesses. That's what we were told. And we were told on Monday, panic over, we've managed to get the resources together and they're on their way. And we've got a wee bit of leeway here because, there was maybe a week or a fortnight's worth of raw materials already at the plant. Then today, we see on the mainstream media that 2 ships from America have arrived with coal and iron ore, and another ship is on its way from Australia. We managed to source stuff from Australia, and the Australian ship is just off the west coast of Africa. Hallelujah. So what's happened with this narrative is, we've been told China's bad, we're good, stuff's here, plant opened. And that all sounds quite logical, until you apply some common sense and logic to the timescale. Now, I don't know where the 2 American ships came from, but I know one of them, because it's in the mainstream. They've told us that this ship came from New Orleans. So that's one of them. Now, the other one might have been a bit closer, but I don't really know how much closer you could get when you look at a map. But let's say New York is the quickest seafaring route to get here. Well, the stuff arrived today. Now, a quick Google search, when you put in how long does it take a container ship to go from New Orleans to the United Kingdom, it pulls up the answer 15 days. But that's to get to Southampton. This stuff came into a place, a port just north of Grimsby, which is the closest port to Scunthorpe. So you would have to have sailed by Southampton, which is 15 days from New Orleans, and potentially maybe another day to get you up to Grimsby for stuff that was ordered on Monday. This is Tuesday. Do you see where I'm having a problem with this? Now, the other boat, this is stuff that was sourced from Australia, is off the west coast of Africa and expected here whenever. I think Thursday or Friday is the dates that we're expecting. But could take a week. Doesn't matter. We've got stuff now, right? And again, you go, well, how long does it take to go from Australia to the west coast of Africa? And again, there's so many variables there because you don't know A, whereabouts in Australia it started, or B, whereabouts off the west coast of Africa, because it's quite a big continent. This is. But I would suggest that would take more than a day. Let's even be fair and say the first phone call we made on Saturday after getting the go-ahead was to phone Australia and say, can we get some stuff off you? Let's just say that happened. So that's Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. 3 days. This ship would take more than that to go from anywhere in Australia to anywhere on the west coast of Africa. So when you apply the common sense and logic in my quizzical, is that the right word? Brain, you think, well, that doesn't make sense. So what are the possibles for this to make sense? Well, the possibles are the pesky Chinese might have ordered it. That's why it's going to be here so soon. Or the British government ordered it before they had the powers to get involved from Westminster, because that only happened on Saturday. Or the third option is the Australian Merchant Navy and the American Merchant Navy have got some sort of time warp ships that can bend time. Staying up to date with events around the world can be difficult, where it's impossible to consult a single source for the full story. Narratives that shape public opinion often just reinforce media and corporate-backed vested interests. It's hard to know what information to trust. See what the media is exaggerating, sensationalising, over or under reporting. That's why I've been using Ground News. Ground News is an app and website that combines news from around the world in one place so you can compare coverage. For every news source, you can see if it has any political bias, how reliable the reporting is, and who owns them. They even have a blind spot feed that highlights news disproportionately covered by one side of the political spectrum. Take a data-driven view on the news and stay current. Get news from thousands of sources worldwide in one place. I've been using Ground News to help me get all the world's news in one place and give a more balanced opinion on what we read and viewing who is telling us the truth and who isn't. Subscribe via my link to get 40% off the Vantage subscription. It's the one I use to get unlimited access to every feature. Your subscription can not only help my channel, but also help Ground News, as it makes the media landscape more transparent. Because that's the only way you could do it. Now, I'm not sure what the truth is, but if I was held a gun to my head, and again, I'm not basing this on anything other than gut feeling and logic, I would suggest that these people, the Chinese, and I'm not, by the way, I'm not a big fan of the Chinese owning our British Steel. Let's just put that out there. But what I'm always wary of is when somebody's trying to find a scapegoat all the time. And it's not right, they shouldn't own British Steel, right? British Steel should be owned by the UK because it's quite a big component when you want any industry. That and energy kind of key requirements. And I think they should be owned by the United Kingdom, if that's all right, or at least British businesses. But I think the reality is it's probably more probable, does that even make sense, that these orders were made in good faith by the Chinese owners well in advance of that plant running short. So I don't know why we want another narrative, but that's not the narrative we're getting sold. And as usual, Craigie Boy's head is always looking for an angle. Anybody wants to argue me with the time frame here, then please let me know. What have I missed out? How is it possible to get the running of this site on Saturday and have 2 boats from America, one all the way from New Orleans, 15 days minimum to get here? How come that can land on Tuesday? Does that make sense to you? Doesn't make sense to me. So if you enjoyed the video, do 1, 2 or 3 things, please. Click the thumbs up button, hit comment and put some comments below, or hit the share and share it with your friends. If you've not already done so, please consider subscribing to the channel and hitting the notification bell. But the most important thing of all, unless you're the type of people that want to not tell us the truth, and I don't know why you wouldn't need to tell us the truth about this. I can't see any big bad thing from telling us the truth, but you're evidently not telling us the truth unless you manage to find some way of bending time. So unless that's you, then no you. But
everyone else, have a great day. Cheerio, bye now.